What is up, guys? Today I want to talk to you about all my cold weather gear, what I wear riding when it's super cold. Just a couple days ago we went on a ride. It was like 33 degrees and it wasn't actually that bad. Alright, so first off, a couple days ago, Club Style NC had their Toys for Tots ride. I said I would do it, and we left. It was 33 degrees in the morning. Now, they're 2 hours from us. So we spent 2 hours to get there, went on about an hour ride, and then had to ride 2 hours home, kind of chasing the sunset. Very cold. It was like 33 when we left. I didn't really check the temperature down there. I think it was a high of 40 that day, and it was about 33 or 30, 34, 35 when I got home. Very cold. It's currently 40 degrees out right now, and it is cold just standing out here. So we went on that 5-hour round trip type ride, and it didn't do too bad. I don't do the normal like big heavy coat stuff, so I wanted to show you guys what I do with cold weather riding. Comment down below what you do. If you have any questions about any of the gear I run, let me know. If you think you've got something better, let everybody know in the comments what you do. This is not expensive stuff, so I think anybody can acquire this, and I think most people probably have at least half of this in their wardrobe anyways. So let's get into it. What do I wear when it's probably too cold to be riding, but we decide to do it anyways? First, full face. This is not the full face I wore yesterday. I've got my built well that I kind of have my vlog set up on, and I knew I was not going to be out past dark, even though we kind of came close, and it's got a dark shield on it. But either way, full face, wear your full face. If you're not wearing a full face, then you're probably not that worried about the cold. So get you something that, especially if you can block some of the wind in the front. My built well, I can't, so it definitely made my face a little colder, but I knew that going in. But yes, full face, got to keep that wind off your face. Next is a balaclava. If you can fit that over your head, under your helmet, that's going to help out a lot, because there's two things that you need to do in the cold. You need to insulate and you need to protect. Your rain gear is probably going to do you better than you think. So the full face is protecting me from the wind. That's what we got to do. We got to stay out of the wind. But it's going to get cold, so you got to insulate. You got to keep yourself warm. I wore a slightly thinner one than this. This is my thicker one. The built well's kind of tight, so I can't get this one on unless I get a haircut, maybe up under the helmet. But I could probably get this on up under the Simpson. This is my warmer one, but it also kind of helps protect the neck a little bit, keep you warm. Again, this is kind of like when it's really cold, you can throw that on up under your helmet. Next, we have our thermal underwear. So your long johns, thermal underwear, whatever you want to call it, just having that layer that's going to keep you kind of warm, that's what you need. The name of the game for me is to layer up. I don't like things that are super big and bulky, and then once you get to where you're going, you can't move, or you got to take a bunch of stuff off. A simple thermal underwear or long johns over top of your normal underwear or whatever helps out tremendous, and I think just when it's this cold, you got to have it. Next for me, and this goes over the long johns or thermal underwear or whatever, so everything's kind of tucked in and nothing kind of flies up, is these like copper, these are it says 35 below thermal socks. They've got like some type of copper stuff infused in it, and it's very comfortable, very thick socks. I've worn these so many times and not had any issues. I will say I just wore regular tennis shoes over these. I will say 2 hours to the event started to get cold. These did not last that long. Normally in the cold in the past, I've been going and meeting or kind of taking short trips like 30 minutes to an hour, a full 2 hours on the highway rolling, 80 miles an hour, these will eventually get cold, but it did take a while to get there. So thermal socks, a must if you're going to ride in the super cold. Now, typically I'll wear a regular t-shirt or a regular long sleeve t-shirt. That's like my base layer. And then I'll have a sweater or a thermal sweater if you get one. I did wear my thermal sweater and it's currently in the wash. But either way, just a nice sweater, because it's a heavy, thicker material. That's going to get your thermalness. You need to keep your warmth in. You need to basically produce body heat and kind of keep that in. You need to have a bunch of layers to keep your body hot. And I just picked up one of our sweaters, one of our No Love sweaters. You can get that at wretchedclothing.com. But yeah, I put this on over top of long sleeve, and I still have plenty of mobility. It's nice and thick. It feels comfy, and it's going to help with the heat. But the wind resistance on this is 0. So you got to have something on top of that. Again, produce heat, protect from the wind. That's what we're trying to do. So I'll show you what goes on over this. Now, the magic to my cold weather gear is our windbreaker. It's a thin, nothing special windbreaker. It works great in all over climates. Does pretty good in the rain. Especially, you can throw the hood on and then put the helmet on, and it would keep you protected in the back, that back neck area. But this right here does wonders. It does kind of close up on your sleeve, and you can pull it tight around your hip area to keep it from flying up and keep it from wind getting up under there. But this is the magic right here. In my opinion, if you layer thermal layers underneath this, you're going to have your warmth, and then this protects you from the straight wind. You can go a long time with just simple layers, and then when you get where you're going, you just walk around. There's no problem whatsoever. You don't have this huge heavy jacket that you're sweating under, or it's bulky, or you got to figure out where it goes. This jacket right here helps out tremendously. We do have a couple of these left on the website. If you are interested, wretchedclothing.com. We are going to be coming out some more in the spring, but again, a lot of people probably have something like this in your closet. You just want that windbreaker material that the wind can't cut through, because all the thermal layers, they're not that wind resistant, and you're not out there. Yeah, if you're just standing around, you could be pretty warm, but once you get on the bike and you start going 60 to 80 miles an hour, that wind cuts through you like no other. So you got to have something that is going to stop that. And I think this right here is the key. Now, for me to go on top of that jacket, I wear a vest. This is a denim vest. It's not even a thick winter leather vest. But for me, it does like two things. It helps keep the core warm because everything's super tight. If you keep your core warm, you're going to do way better because the core is the most important part. But also, it does keep everything nice and tight, so the jacket's not flopping around, and you're way less likely for the jacket to ride up and wind to get up underneath. So this is pretty important. I'm pretty happy with throwing this on top. And yeah, not everyone wears a vest, but I think it's pretty important when it gets pretty cold. Hold you nice and tight. One added protection layer for your core, which is the most important, and just keeping the jacket from flying up. Then on the bottom layer, I have these Coleman pants that I got from Sam's Club. You can get them pretty cheap around this time of year. Usually, I think these are around 20 bucks. You can get a nicer pair. If I had a nicer pair of these, it probably wouldn't have been so bad. But after 2 hours, these things got pretty cold soaked. They do have a decent, like, harder outer layer that's going to protect the wind some. And then they've got almost like a sweater material lined on the inside. They have thicker and better versions of these. If I had that, I probably wouldn't have got as cold as I did. But in this current configuration, I probably need to put like a rain pant on the outside just to have that wind protection that I didn't have other than that, it really wasn't that bad. I was able to, deal with it, but a little bit thicker pair of these thermal pants, or maybe throwing something on the outside, but that would have got a little bulky. So room for improvement there, but having thermal underwear plus these, it helps a lot. And then last, but most importantly, heated gloves. We sell some leather gloves and they do pretty good, about mid 40s, but it was 33 degrees when I left. So heated gloves are a must. Pretty easy to deal with. You just turn them on, instant heat, you're good to go. These are battery packed ones. They do make some that plug in. I just think battery packs are easier to deal with. But these gloves are great. These are actually cheap Amazon gloves. I found these for their Black Friday sale, I think a couple days before the ride. They would show up the day before, bought them, charged them up. They worked great. Like I said, it was 5 hours round trip. I did not wear these on the actual toy ride, which was an hour long, because they definitely kind of take away some of your dexterity. So wearing these things, they're pretty bulky, and just trying to like hold the clutch lever and trying to hold the throttle, like it's definitely pretty difficult. So I knew I was going to be riding in a group of people. I did not want to wear these, trying to, grip everything and, doing that when I got people in front of me, side behind me. So didn't wear these during the ride, but both of them have about half life left, and that was 4 hours of riding. Typically, I either had them on low or medium. When it started to get a little bit more cold, I would turn them on immediately to high, and then once I got going, I would turn them down. On the high setting, they don't last nearly as long, like at all, but I knew if I kept them around the mid setting, 4 hours shouldn't be a problem. And honestly, when it's that cold, 4 hours is more than enough of riding. We did like 400 miles the other day. I'm perfectly fine with that. So, you know what? These did pretty good. For me, my pain point is my hands. That's what gets cold the fastest. So that's honestly why I'm keeping them on right now, because my hands are pretty cold. But these are most important. I had a pair of Joe Rockets that lasted 2 years. One of the gloves burned up, and you can't buy just one glove, and they were $200. These were $60. So if they last me a year or two, I'm beyond happy with that. They have little battery packs in here, charge them up. They come with a nice little bag. You can put everything back in the bag and just kind of put them up until you need them again. So yeah, that's pretty much my cold weather setup. I think the most important, honestly, is obviously a full face. Again, if you're not wearing a full face, then I don't think you're worried about the cold weather at all. The jacket, having multiple layers up under that windbreaker jacket, that is killer. Because you can just put, a sweater and a long sleeve that you already own. You don't have to have anything special there. Wind's picking up pretty good, but you don't have to have anything special. Just throw a windbreaker on over top. You're gonna warm yourself up and cut the wind. But heated gloves, that is the biggest takeaway. If you're gonna be cold, man, these are it. Now they make full heated gear. That might be needed for in the future, but quite honestly, I just don't ride when it's that freezing. Because yesterday, 33 degrees, there would have been risk of ice had it rained the night before, or had there been a lot of moisture out. There would have been risk of ice, and I've hit ice before on the bike. It is not fun. There is nothing you can do. It is terrible. So I'm not someone who's going to ride that crazy. And if it's, mid 40s or even low 40s where there really isn't any risk of ice, I don't really need anything more than what I have right here. So I think that's pretty good cold weather setup for me. Again, I would love to hear your thoughts. Comment down below. Let me know what you do. Do you even not ride when it's that cold? What's the coldest you ride? And when I mean like ride, I don't mean just, I ran to the store, or I rode to my buddy's house to prove, it's possible. Like, no, like actually, like I went out on a ride. Like it was an almost all day riding pretty much. It was 4 hours of just ride time, but I was out most of the day. So Let me know what you do. Did you find anything informational? Did you find anything good about this video? Comment down below. Like it if you don't mind. I'd greatly appreciate that. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. And as always, keep it wretched.